Hello, Dordt University sports fans. Hope you're enjoying the game, whether you're a family or friend of a team member or a fan of the university. These players and coaches have put in hours and hours of practice, and it shows. There's one more thing that every coach makes sure the team has for each game, and that's a game plan. And no matter the outcome of the game, there's tremendous value in growth in working together as a team to execute that game plan. What about you? Do you have a game plan for your financial life? Or are you so busy with everything else that life throws your way? If you don't have either the time or the desire to spend hours and hours learning and keeping up with the changing rules in the financial world, and then figuring out how that applies specifically to your financial life, you don't have to do it alone. For over 40 years, the planning firm here in Sioux Center has been helping households build and execute their financial game plans on all the things more important than money. I'm Tom DeYoung, president of the planning firm. Check us out on the web or social media, or schedule a complimentary Discover meeting to see how a financial game plan might benefit you. We'll help you build your financial game plan on all the things in your life more important than finances, while being a good steward of the resources God has entrusted to your care. And check out our Money Concepts Radio podcast at moneyconceptsradio.com or on your favorite podcast app, where we dive into relevant financial planning topics to bring clarity to the often confusing, ever-changing rules of the game in the financial world. Enjoy the rest of the game, and remember to spend your most valuable resources, your time and your attention, on the things in life that matter more than money. And go Defenders!
Today's broadcast brought to you by 712 Nutrition. Transform your health and wellness with 712 Nutrition. Stop in today for healthy, delicious protein shakes bundled with a supportive community. Start feeling your best today.
Find furniture, mattresses, flooring, paint, and window treatments at your local Furniture Mart. They are family-owned and located in downtown Sioux Center. German Farmers Mutual, protecting the farm and home since 1891. Northwest Iowa's local insurance partner. Online at germanfarmers.com.
When you add up all the Wi-Fi connected devices in your home these days, you'll be surprised at how many there are and how much bandwidth they're using. Do the math. It just may add up to needing faster Wi-Fi. Premier Communications has you covered with reliable internet speeds up to 1 gig. Keep everything connected with Premier Communications. Visit us online at mypremieronline.com or call at 1-800-741-8351. Premier Communications. Looking ahead.
We really want to give them practice skills that they can use to serve their clients or serve the organizations that they work for.
And a good afternoon to you. Game number 2 of the doubleheader getting set to get underway. And we are underway with baseball. Ryland Bowe facing Carter Roth. First pitch is a ball. 1-0 the count. So Ryland Bowe, right-hander, steps up. And we'll get you the numbers on Bowe in just a moment. That one's in on the hands, fouled off and out of play. Demers gives it a token chase, and that one up into the bleachers. Strike one, 1-1 the count. For Ryland Bowe, his numbers on the hill. This is his 14th appearance, all but one of them in relief. Right-hander, here's the pitch. That misses. Ball 2. 2-1 the count. So 2-1 the count. Top of the first inning. Lineup for Doane looks almost exactly, batting order looks almost exactly like it did for game number 1. I'll double check that. That pitch misses upstairs. Ball 3, 3-1. It's Roth, Summers, Kwapnowski, Nelson, Grossert, Volcano, Jones, Bond, Harris for the Tigers. For the defenders, Van, Twombly, Templeton, Oreskes, Dillender, Hirsch, Schlesman, Kerr, Demers. Everything looks the same there. Pitch is a ball, and the leadoff walk is issued, and that'll bring Grant Summers to the plate to start this 9-inning contest. So Ryland Bowe, number 26. He is a freshman from Harrisburg, South Dakota. First pitch thrown at 350 here in game 2. And getting his lead at first base is Roth. Summers, right-handed batter. Here's the pitch from Bowe. That misses outside. Ball 1, 1-0 the count. Game 1, in case you're just joining us, won by the Tigers. 8-5 the final. Late runs by the Tigers, putting it out of reach. Defenders got a 3-run homer. Late was not enough. End up losing 8-5. And here's the pitch. Swung on a line drive, right side, and that is going to drop fair. And extra bases for Summers. Oreskes chases it down in foul territory as it rolls into the right field corner. And the Doane Tigers have runners at second and third. And nobody out. Ryland Bowe's got to work himself out of some trouble. So a fly ball, one that flirted with the line. And Summers with the double brings Kwapnowski to the plate. Ground ball. Schlesman scoops, throws, first base, and unable to make the grab. At first base is Templeton, and Kwapnowski reaches. And that, going to wait for the replay and see officially on the scoring if they would have gotten him with the throw if it had been on the mark. For the time being, I'm going to rule that an error. Summers advances over to third. Roth scores on the play. And the pitch misses outside. Ball 1. 1-0 the count. And the pitch outside corner. Strike one. 1-1 the count. Now I will give Kwapnowski an RBI there as well because the run would have scored. The only effect on the play was that Dordt didn't record the first out of the inning. 1-1 pitch on the way. This one's fouled off and out of play, and the count goes to 1-2. 1-2 the count. So the defenders digging themselves a little bit of a hole here. Let's see if they can keep it manageable. Bo swung on, fouled off. Strike two. Count remains 1-2. So 1-2 the count. 1-2 the count with nobody out. Doane won game one, 8-5. And sitting on a potential big inning here. Pitch is a ball. It's 2-2. So 2-2 the count. So 2-2 pitch on the way from Bo. Swung on and a line drive to right field. That'll score another run. Tigers playing station-to-station baseball right now. So Nelson with the single to right produces another run. And runners on first and second. And now we have a mound visit, well, actually just a conference between Demers and Bo. And Demers will take the long walk back to behind the plate. So 2-0 our score. And that'll bring up Jet Grossert. So runners at first and second for the Tigers. And the left-handed batter, here's the pitch. Ball one. 1-0 the count. And I would imagine there's a courtesy runner over at first base. I did not catch that as it happened, but double check that. Here's the pitch. I was busy trying to see if I could get a replay on that play that was scored an error earlier in the contest, in the inning. And Jared Jones is going to now come out of the dugout and talk things over with his pitcher and his catcher. The Doane Tigers with a 2-0 lead in this one already. Threatening to add more. So Jared Jones talking things over with Ryland Bowe. The batter is Jet Grossert. The count is 2-0. So Grossert batting here with runners on first and second and still no one out. Bowe trying to get out of the inning, and a fly ball left side, and that's going to be caught by the left fielder. Making the play is hers. And we do have a courtesy runner for Nelson. That is number 26, Thaden Woolwell. So Grossert flies out to left for the first out of the inning. And that'll bring up Johnny Volcano. So Johnny Volcano, right-hander, settles in with 1 out in the inning. Dordt trailing 2-0. Here's the pitch from Bo. Swung on, hit in the air, out of play. Strike 1. 0-1 the count. So 0-1 the count. We'll get you some of the numbers from game number 1. And the count now 1-1. So 1-1 the count with 1 down in the inning. And that pitch taken for a ball. It's 2-1. So 2-1 the count. The defenders trying to limit the damage here. And this one, a line drive into the alley, and that's going to produce a couple of runs. Extra bases for Volcano. Volcano in standing up with the double. And with 1 out in the inning, the Tigers have taken a 4-0 lead. Wool with the RBI, with scores on the play. Volcano scores 2. And a couple of RBI. And that's going to be it for Ryland Bowe with 1 out in the inning. Due up next will be Braden Jones. We have a pitching change here at Open Space Park in Sioux Center. Doane with a 4-0 lead. Let's take a break and we'll be back after the pitching change right after this. Today's broadcast brought to you by Ployne Publishing, quality printing from design to delivery.
The Greenhouse, located in Hall, Iowa, bringing you amazing coffee, energy drinks, breakfast, lunch, and so much more. A big city feel, only 10 minutes away from Sioux Center, with a second location opening soon in Sanborn.
Today's broadcast brought to you by Huber's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning of Orange City. Whether you're looking for repairs, replacement, or maintenance for your air conditioning or heating system, Huber's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning of Orange City will exceed your expectation.
At American Investment and Trust, we know financial planning is a never-ending journey, and we have the right team to take you every step of the way. We understand that a solid financial framework can only be built when risks are considered. Planning for tomorrow means starting today. And once you've built a legacy, we help make sure your vision carries on to the next generation. For a comprehensive financial plan, the team at American Investment and Trust is here for you. American Investment and Trust, managing change.
Four to nothing our score. The Doane Tigers have struck for 4 runs, 3 of them earned here in this inning. And Ryland Bowe has given way to a relief pitcher. This will be Jacob Camp. Camp wears number 28. He is a junior from Omaha. And right now for Bowe, his responsibility ends with Johnny Volcano at second base. Braden Jones comes to the plate. As I mentioned, I'll get you some numbers from the first game of today's Twin Bill, won by Doane, 8-5. Camp's first pitch is a ball. It's 1-0. So 1-0 the count. Here's the pitch, swung on and a line drive into left center field, and that is taken off a one hop by Hers. Another run comes in to score. And that results in an RBI for Jones. So Braden Jones with a single to left center. And that'll bring up Jordan Bond with Doane already in front 5-0. So the Tigers taking control here early on. And here's the pitch, breaking ball inside. Ball one. 1-0 the count to Bond. Jacob Camp on in relief. And we will close the book on Rylan Bowe. Here's the pitch up high. Ball two. 2-0. Jordan Bond earlier today, 1 for 3 in game one with an RBI. 2-0 the count. Swung on, hit in the air right side. That one's going to drift out of play. And the count remains 2-1. So 2-1 the count. This doubleheader began at 1 o'clock this afternoon. We'll get you some scores from around the league as time allows. Swung on, hit high in the air. Schlesselman backing up. He's behind the bag. Now drifting over to the right field side of the base. And makes the play for out number 2 of the inning. And any runs scored from here on out in this frame would be unearned as well. There's one unearned across already. And that'll bring up Max Harris. Harris wearing number 4. Dakota Wesleyan and Mount Marty got started at 3 o'clock today. Mount Marty leads that one 4-3. Pitch is in there for a called strike. It's 0-1 to Max Harris. Midland trails Briar Cliff in the top of the 5th inning in Fremont 5-2. Top of the 6th inning, Morningside softball leads Midland 5-3. Waldorf and Northwestern just underway in Orange City. They're playing baseball today. Pitch is low, ball 1-1 the count. 2 outs in the inning. Here's the pitch, swung on and missed. Strike 2, 1-2. Well, sometimes the baseball and softball games, or baseball especially, the 28-game schedule, feels like so many games to track, and finally you get to the end of the season, and now you can see how things have played out. 1-2 the count with 2 down. Here's the pitch, breaking ball, and a number right along the foul line, and that's going to be an infield single. That one started in foul territory off of the bat of Max Harris and squirts fair. And it was picked up in fair territory. The defenders didn't have a chance at it as the first baseman, Logan Templeton, charging on the play. And Jacob Camp also converged at the ball as well. And no chance of getting Max Harris. So an infield single for Max Harris. And Braden Jones advances over to second base. That'll bring Carter Roth to the plate. So he's the 10th batter to come to the plate here. 5-0 our score. Roth is the leadoff batter for Doane. Roth takes a ball. It's 1-0. So 1-0 the count with 2 down. And here's the pitch. Swung on, hit in the air, left field, giving chase. That's Hers. Hers unable to get to it. That one's off of the base of the fence. 1 run will score. Another coming around third. Here's the throw and the play at the plate. Not in time, and in standing up was Max Harris, scoring from first on the play. And the Tigers have put 7 on the board here in the top of the first inning. So Carter Roth slams one to the alley. Max Harris comes all the way around to score. Jones comes in. And that'll bring Grant Summers to the plate. Summers, his second plate appearance of the inning. That one's down in the dirt from Jacob Camp. Ball 1. 1-0 the count with 2 down in the inning. Well, we'll try to do our best to keep you up to date on some of those scores from around the conference as the day plays out. That pitch is a ball. 2-0 the count. Summers, 1 for 1 with a run scored. Had a double earlier in the inning. Fouls that one off and out of play. Strike 1, 2-1 the count with 2 down. So 2-1 the count with 2 down. 7-0 our score. Doane putting 7 on the board here in the top of the first inning. Staking their starting pitcher to a nice cushion to begin. Camp from the stretch. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball misses inside. Ball 3. 3-1 the count. So Brock Songster gets the start in game 2. Just his second start of the season. The Doane Tigers get a base on balls to Summers off of the, as Camp walks him on 5 pitches. That'll bring Sam Kwapnowski to the plate. Kwapnowski reached on an error, had an RBI and a run scored as well. 2 down in the inning. Here's the pitch. Swung on in a line drive past the shortstop into left field. And another run comes in to score, and Kwapnowski with an RBI single. Scoring Roth from second base as he was off on contact. And with 2 down in the inning, that will bring Nelson to the plate. Nelson 1 for 1 with an RBI. The Tigers, as I mentioned, they're going with Brock Songster. So Dordt will not see one of the top 4 pitchers for Doane here in game number 2. Pitch is a strike. 0-1 the count. Didn't know if we'd see Nicholas Yard, Gabe Rodriguez, or Riley Plummer, all with 50-plus innings of work this year. Pitch is taken for a strike. 0-2 the count. Of course, with a doubleheader looming with Morningside tomorrow, you want to leave as many bullets in the chamber as you can for Concordia. For Doane. Pitch is a ball, 1-2. Go into those types of doubleheaders. And if you have the opportunity to save one of your top pitchers who's accustomed to chewing up innings, and you're going to take it. 1-2 the count with 2 down. Morningside coming off a sweep at the hands of Concordia yesterday. Line drive at a left center field, and another run will score, at least one. They'll hold the runner up at third. No, they're going to send him. Throw home and not in time. And the Doane Tigers take a 10-0 lead. 10-0 our score on the long single. So Wewell, that is. Well, that should have been Camp, beg your pardon. So Camp was batting, and now Wewell will come to the plate. Failed to re-enter Nelson. So Nelson delivers the single. Scores 2 runs. Now a fly ball right and deposit it into center field. Throw over to second base, not in time. Very, very nearly caught Wewell leaning the wrong way as he took a big turn at second. And the Tigers continuing to do damage. So Wewell is the runner, and he advanced to second on the play. Off of the base hit up the middle by Grossert. And Johnny Volcano is the batter. Volcano takes strike one, 0-1 the count. 0-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. Here's the pitch. Strike 2. 0-2 the count with 2 down. So 0-2 the count with 2 down. Camp from the stretch. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled off and out of play. And the count remains 0-2. Nothing into the count. Here's the pitch. Down low. Ball 1. 1-2 the count. So 1-2 the count to Volcano. Dordt trailing 10-0. 10 runs on 9 hits. There was an error that allowed the inning to be extended. So 1-2 pitch on the way. Misses outside. Ball 2. 2-2. So 2-2 pitch on the way with 2 down in the frame. And Volcano awaits the delivery from Camp. Here's the pitch. Down in the dirt. That'll go as a wild pitch. Demers will chase it to the backstop. So Wewell advances to third. Gossert to second. And Volcano now batting with the count full and 2 down. 3-2 pitch on the way with 2 outs. Swung on, hit in the air, right side. Oreskes coming on. Oreskes makes the play. And Volcano is retired, but not before the Tigers do damage. 10 runs, 9 hits, 1 error, 2 left on base. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Due up for the defenders, it'll be Van, Twombly, and Templeton when we're back right after this. Today's broadcast brought to you by Cruz & Cruz, PC, certified public accountants. Offices in Sioux Center and Lars. Helping you attain your financial goals is their commitment. Today's broadcast brought to you by Joyner and Dordt Dentistry, providing implants, dentures, and dental care for your whole family in a modern and friendly atmosphere. Today's broadcast brought to you by Ski-Bout Window and Door, your local window experts. Whether you're building or replacing, Ski-Bout Window and Door has the products, people, and knowledge to get the job done right. See Ski-Bout and see the difference.
Hi, this is Alex with Outdoor Elements. We've been the region's premier landscape company for over 15 years. With our own in-house landscape designer, we create extraordinary outdoor spaces where you will make memories with family and friends. We do all types of landscaping and we're the region's only certified pool professionals. We specialize in saltwater pools, which are easy to maintain and gentle on your skin. Check out our website at OutdoorElementsInc.com. We make your landscape as beautiful as your home. When you want the best, contact us at 712-476-5299 or email us at info@OutdoorElementsInc.com.
Ryan Van, the DH, will bat. The defenders put themselves in a bad spot here. And the pitch from Songster is a strike. 0-1 the count. Songster making just his second start of the year. Pitch is down in the dirt. Well, beg your pardon, that's a strike. I thought it was a little low, but there I go, anticipating. Pitch is inside. Ball one, 1-2 the count. Songster this year, his second start, his seventh appearance. He's thrown 11 innings. Left-hander, swung on, and a soft line drive, and that's the second time today we have seen Carter Roth back up into the outfield grass and time it out just right and rob of what looked like a base hit. And Ryan Van retired on the line drive to second base for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Jimmy Twombly. Twombly in game one, 0 for 4, so he's looking to break out here. And Twombly fouls it off. Strike one, 0-1 the count. So 0-1 the count with one out in the inning. Well, Midland has come back to tie it on Morningside in the bottom of the sixth inning. They are in the bottom of the sixth inning in Sioux City in softball. That's a 5-5 game now. Pitch is in for a called strike. It's 0-2. 0-2 the count. Here's the pitch from Songster. Breaking ball. High chopper. Shortstop up with it. Throws over to first base. Summers to Jones for the out, and Twombly retired. 6-3. 4-out number one. That'll bring up Logan Templeton. So Templeton will come to the plate with the bases empty and 2 down. Well, they've now gone to the top of the seventh inning between Midland and Morningside, and that one's still 5-5. Midland tied it with 2 in the top of the sixth inning. That one hacked at, foul by Templeton. Strike one. 0-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. Well, it'll remain to be seen if the defenders get a spot in the Great Plains Athletic Conference postseason tournament. Templeton puts a charge into this one, and it is caught. No, he did not catch it. Ball ends up over the fence, and Templeton with a home run. Giving it a good effort in center field was Harris, but Templeton with the home run, a solo homer. And Logan Templeton gets Dordt on the board, trailing 10-1. For Templeton, his third homer of the year. And for Templeton, his 35th RBI. 2 down in the inning, brings up Oreskes. Oreskes had a 3-run homer in the first game. His 7th of the year, now has 37 RBI, leads the team in that category. 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch. That one's down to the dirt. Ball one. 1-1 the count. So 1-1 the count. One and one the count with 2 down in the inning. And Oreskes now down in the count 1-2. So 1-2 the count. Oreskes batting with the bases empty, fouls that one off. And it's 1-2. 1-2 the count. With 2 down in the frame. And here's the pitch. That's in for a called strike 3. And the defenders are retired. They do get a home run, though, by Logan Templeton. The defenders, 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on base. We go to the top of the second inning. Our score, Doane 10, Dordt 1. Back with more after this.
I think one of the distinctives for our program is that we're designing it for everyone, whether they have a background in business or they don't have a background in business. Students can take what they're learning in class and bring it right back into work. There's a real practical sense within the program of saying, this isn't just a big idea that's out there and you're walking through the hoops to be able to get done, but let's benefit your business tomorrow with the program that you're going through.
NewTek is your partner for success when purchasing equipment for construction, manufacturing, agriculture, and other industries. Don't miss the opportunity to transform your business and redefine your productivity standards with NewTek.
And today's live stream broadcast brought to you by Verhoof Automotive. Verhoof Automotive in Sioux Center is your local Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chevrolet, and Buick dealer. Verhoof Automotive, worth the drive from anywhere.
Aaron Wood is the new pitcher. Wood making his 14th appearance. All in relief, 18 innings of work for Wood. And the Dordt defenders trailing the Doane Tigers 10-1. I am keeping an eye on that Morningside Midland softball game, as that has ramifications for the Dordt Defenders softball team. Midland and Morningside playing 2 today. Right now, they both lead Dordt and Dakota Wesleyan by a game in the loss column. Aaron Wood toes the rubber, and Braden Jones hacks at it. Foul ball, strike 1. 0-1 the count with one out, with nobody out. Well, not the outcome, or not the early inning that the defenders wanted, obviously, getting down 10-1, but it is a beautiful day here today. Nothing but sunshine. No, not a cloud in the sky. Fly ball out to Jimmy Twombly. And Braden Jones is retired on the towering fly ball for out number 1. That'll bring up Jordan Bond. Game time temps in the upper 50s. We've settled in at 61 degrees currently. With 1 out in the inning, Jordan Bond against Aaron Wood. Wood, breaking ball misses. Ball 1, 1-0 the count. So 1-0 the count with 1 out in the inning. Dordt defense playing straight up against Bond. Chopper, third base. Kerr up with it, throws over to Templeton for the out. So Wood retires first 2 batters of the inning. That'll bring up Max Harris. Harris wears number 4. His team leads 10-1. Aaron Wood, number 19. Aaron is a freshman from Redding, California. Fouled off and out of play. Strike 1. 0-1 the count. 2 down in the inning. And here's the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball, hammered foul, and that one's going to drift over the fence and out of play. 0-2. 0-2 the count. Baseball standings at the moment, factoring in that game that was played here earlier. Doane is now 21-4 in the league. Overall record really doesn't matter. Strikeout for Wood. And the Dordt defenders trail 10-1, but work a 1-2-3 second inning. Back with more from Open Space Park right after this.
Welcome to Sioux Center, Iowa. Life in the center of everything. Where we connect with friends, coworkers, family, and the great outdoors. knowing that in Sioux Center, you're never far from making the next great memory. And we grow great companies that make cutting-edge breakthroughs to make life better here and around the world. And when it's time to play, we keep friendship, family, and a bright future at the center of everything.
Today's Dordt Media Network live stream broadcast is produced by the students of Dordt University.
And brought to you by Pizza Ranch, buffet, carry out, or delivery. Today's broadcast is sponsored by Northside Body Shop. When you expect the very best in the repair of your vehicle, call Northside Body Shop Limited today, serving the Sioux Center area since 1955. 712-722-2313.
Stephen Dillander to lead things off for the defenders. First game won out by Doane earlier today, 8-5. Dillander fouls that one off. Strike one, nothing and one the count. We're in the bottom of the second inning. Dakota Wesleyan leads Mount Marty 6-4 in Yankton, top of the fifth. Bottom of the sixth, Briarcliff up on Midland, 5-2. Midland needs to win all four, I think, to have a chance to make the postseason, so they're in a tough spot. Midland and Morningside softball tied 5-5. And Northwestern's up on Waldorf, 3-0 in Orange City in the bottom of the second inning. Here's the pitch. Swung on and a soft line drive fielded by Roth. Roth over to first base in time. And Dillander retired. 4-3 for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Jared Hers. Hers did have good success in the first game. 2 for 4 with 2 RBI. So 1 out in the inning. We're in the bottom of the second. Here's the pitch up high. Ball 1, 1-0 the count. So 1-0 the count with 1 out. Here's the pitch. Swung on, hit in the air, left side, sprinting back and unable to make the grab is the shortstop Grant Summers, and Hers is on with his third base hit of the day. That'll bring Joey Schlesselman to the plate. Dordt trailing 10-1. So Schlesselman will come to the plate. Brock Songster working into his second inning here. Taking his lead at first is Jared Hers. Pitch is outside. Ball 1, 1-0 the count. So 1-0 the count. From the stretch is Songster. Here's the pitch. Swung on, hit in the air, right side. Right fielder drifting back, Kwapnowski. And I think we may have had, that is Kwapnowski. Kwapnowski in right field makes the leaping grab for the second out of the inning. And Hers holds on the play. And that'll bring up DJ Kerr. So DJ Kerr batting with 2 outs. Kerr takes up high. Ball 1. 1-0 the count. One and 0 the count with 2 down in the inning. Here's the pitch. Kerr fouls that one off and out of play. Strike 1, 1-1 the count with 2 down. So 1-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. And they're going to extra innings in Sioux City between Midland and Morningside softball. They're in the top of the 8th inning now, tied 5-5. 2-1 the count to Kerr. Kerr takes on the outside half of the plate. Strike 2. 2-2 the count. Well, the Dordt baseball team, if they don't get a win here today, there is still a pathway to the postseason. Pitches up high. Ball 3, 3-2. It does get a little convoluted. If Dordt doesn't get a win today, they need Hastings to get swept by Concordia tomorrow. Here's the pitch. Down in the dirt, and the walk is issued. You need that. You need, the best case scenario would then be Mount Marty or Dakota Wesleyan win 3 out of 4 against each other. And then you need Midland to, they need to lose at least 2 to Briar Cliff this weekend. So there is a pathway there, but the Defenders, a win would all but do it here today, but a challenge as they are down in 10-1 here in the bottom of the 2nd inning, but they have put a couple of base runners on. Chisholm Demers now batting. Demers, game 1, 0 for 2. Swung it pretty good on Wednesday night in the games with Hastings. Pitches on the outside half of the plate. Strike 1. 1-1 the count with 2 down. Well, next week, a lot of projects due for college students on campus. Line drive, center field, drifting back, Harris. Harris makes the grab, and the side is retired. The Defenders get a couple of base runners, but that's it. No runs, a hit, no errors, 2 left. To the top of the 3rd inning we go. Doane 10, Dordt 1, back with more right after this.
How can I join Defender Forever? It's easy. Go to dordt.edu/forever and sign up. You'll not only stay connected with the Dordt community, but also support the future of Defender Nation. Start Forever now. Once you sign up, you will receive exclusive perks, brand new gear, event access, and the latest Dordt news. Be part of something special. Be part of Defender Forever.
Today's broadcast brought to you by Snyder Insurance and Financial Group of Sioux Center, offering life, health, Medicare supplements, annuities, and more. Trusted service and exceptional products with you in mind since 1973. Today's broadcast brought to you by 712 Realty, a team of realtors in Northwest Iowa with the drive, care, and results you need to buy or sell your home. Visit them online, 712realty.com, leading you home. This broadcast brought to you by the Ullman Funeral Homes. Chad Ullman, Lori Ewell, and Taylor Van Witchell providing professional attention to every detail. Carter Roth comes to the plate. 10-1 our score. Aaron Wood into the wind. Here's the pitch. Swung on, ground ball, foul. Strike 1, 0-1 the count with nobody out. The Defenders trailing 10-1 here in the top of the 3rd. Swung on in a line drive at a left field, and that one's going to hook into the corner. That's a fair ball. Taking the turn at first. Headed for second is Roth. Roth is in standing up with the double. So a double to left field for Carter Roth. That'll bring Grant Summers to the plate. So the Defenders lost game one, 8-5. Here in game two, trailing 10-1, allowed 10 runs in the first inning. Now Aaron Woods pitching. Here's the pitch. Misses. Ball one. 1-0 the count with nobody out. Be a quiet day on campus tomorrow in terms of athletics. Here's the pitch. Swung on, and that one's hooked foul. Strike one, 1-1 the count. The Defenders track and field team got athletes competing at the Drake Relays and at the Kip Janvrin invite hosted by Simpson tonight. Then it'll be Drake Relays only tomorrow for some of the athletes in relays predominantly. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike two. 1-2 the count. Baseball team will have the regular season wrapped up. They'll be scoreboard watching tomorrow. And the softball team will play Briar Cliff in Sioux City. That's scheduled for a 1 o'clock start time for that doubleheader. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike three. That'll bring up Kwapnowski. Kwapnowski, right fielder, will step in with one out in the inning. So runner at second base is Roth. And here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike one. 0-1 the count with one out. Next week, well, we know the softball team will be in the postseason tournament. We just don't know the assignment yet. 0-1 the count with one out. Here's the pitch. Outside. Ball one. 1-1 the count. Softball team could be hosting one of those four-team elimination, double elimination brackets on Wednesday and Thursday. Pitch is up high. Ball two. 2-1 the count. Right now, the Defenders a game out of first place, but Midland and Morningside, who are tied atop the league, right now 15-3. Dordt 16-4. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose those. Could have a four-way tie by the time the games are over today. Pitches upstairs. Ball 3-1. Midland and Morningside. 5-5, top of the eighth inning in Sioux City. Swing and a miss. Strike two. 3-2 the count. Other softball tomorrow. The games that carry some critical, with some degree of importance to the top of the league. Here's the pitch. Low and away, ball four, and the walk is issued. Kwapnowski walks. So runners at first and second here in the top of the third inning. So finishing that thought, Dakota Wesleyan and Morningside play tomorrow in a doubleheader in Sioux City. Dordt is at Briar Cliff, and Midland is at Doane. Remember, Doane, one of the teams that has handed Dordt a loss this year, so they have potential. Pitch is up high. Ball one. 1-0 the count. So 1-0 the count with one down in the inning. Here's the pitch. That's in for a called strike. It's 1-1. Lots of sunshine here today. We're in the top of the third inning. One out in the frame. Get a ground ball, maybe a double play here. Pitch is down to the dirt, blocked by Demers. Ball 2, 2-1. So 2-1 the count with 1 out in the inning. And here's the pitch, and that just misses. Hitting Nelson. Ball 3, 3-1. So 3-1 the count. Pitch is upstairs. Ball 4 and the walk is issued. So Kwapnowski advances to second. Roth to third. Nelson reaches on the walk. And that'll bring up Jet Grossert. So the defenders trailing 10-1 in this one. Well, Morningside able to work out of that bottom of the top of the 8th inning against Midland, so it's still tied 5-5 as they go to the bottom of the 8th inning. I believe the international tiebreaker comes into effect in softball and conference play if you reach the 10th inning. Grossert, first pitch in for a called strike. 0-1 the count with 1 out. Aaron Wood trying to get out of a bases loaded situation here, and a soft pop fly, and that's going to drop in right center field. And now we've got runners caught off of the bases and running into the tag at home is Kwapnowski. Kwapnowski runs into the tag. Nelson advances all the way to third. And Roth scored on the play. And this one's driven to left field, and that is a home run for Johnny Volcano. So Volcano delivers a 3-run home run to left center field. And the Doane Tigers have taken a 14-1 lead. 14-1 our score. Braden Jones will come to the plate with 2 down in the inning. So Braden Jones comes to the plate here in the top of the 3rd inning after Volcano cleared the bases with the home run. First pitch is a ball. 1-0 the count with 2 down. And Aaron Wood into the wind. Here's the pitch. Down low, ball 2, 2-0. 2-0 the count with 2 outs. And here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. 2-1 the count. Well, Wood able to work an uneventful 2nd inning, but the 3rd inning here, Doane coming alive with 4 more runs. Swung on and lashed foul down the 3rd baseline. And the count goes to even at 2-2. 2-2 the count with 2 down. Here's the pitch to Jones. Jones, ground ball, backhanded by Schlesselman. Won't have, well, he throws over to first. Doesn't have a play. Infield single for Braden Jones. And the Dordt defenders trail now 14-1. And Jordan Bond So Jordan Bond comes to the plate here. Bond. Here's the pitch, and he fouls that one off and out of play. Strike one, 1-1 the count. So 1-1 the count. So Bond now working with a 2-1 count. And Wood from the stretch. Here's the pitch up high. Ball 3, 3-1. 3-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. So 3-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. Jones gets his lead. Here's the pitch. And that one's down to the dirt. Ball 4, and the walk is issued. Aaron Wood has runners now at first and second to work with. The Doane Tigers already are lineup littered with multiple runs scored by several players. We're in the bottom of the third, or top of the third, beg your pardon. Pitch is high and tight. Ball 1 to, should be Max Harris batting. It is. 1-0 the count with 2 down. That's always the danger in these kind of games. You lose track in the book. Swung on and fouled off. Strike 1. 1-1 the count. So 1-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. Right-handed batting, Max Harris. And Harris, a bouncer through the left side. That'll score another run. And advances the runners. Advances Bond over to second base. So Harris delivers an RBI single. And that'll bring Carter Roth to the plate. Still 2 down in the inning, 15-1 our score. Doane Tigers scored 10 in the first. They've added 5 here in the second after going in the third after going scoreless in the second. Roth takes inside, ball 1. 1-0 the count with 2 down. Here's the pitch. Up and away, ball 2. 2-0. This would be the 10th batter of the inning, I believe. Swung on, hit high in the air, left field. And that one's going to be deposited in the evergreens as well. A 3-run home run. And Carter Roth adds to the damages. Going to bring Grant Summers to the plate. And the Tigers with an 18-1 advantage right now. That 3-run homer, their second 3-run homer of the inning. And that'll bring up Grant Summers. Summers, first pitch is in for a called strike. Two outs in the inning. 0-1 the count with 2 down, and that one ripped foul. Strike 2, 0-2 the count. So 0-2 the count with the defenders down 18-1 here on the top of the 3rd inning. Pitch is up high. Ball 1, 1-2. Defensively for Dordt, it's Hers, Twombly, and Oreskes. Left to right. 3rd to 1st. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. And the side is retired. But not before 8 runs come across on 6 hits. We head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Doane in firm control of this one, leading 18-1. Back with more in a moment.
At Dordt, every sporting event is a chance for students to learn and for our community to come together. Through the Dordt Media Network, students gain real experience, capturing moments and sharing them with fans everywhere.
Our students handle every part of the broadcast.
We are asking for your investment to support the broadcast and the team behind it.
You're helping students learn while Defender broadcasts run with excellence. Thanks for watching. Go Defenders. Ryan Van leading things off for the Defenders. And here's the pitch from Songster. First pitch is in for a called strike. 0-1 the count. So 18-1. Doane in control of this one. Pitch is outside. Ball 1-1 the count. That softball game I'm keeping an eye on. Midland and Morningside still tied. 5-5, bottom of the 9th inning now. Pitch is outside. Ball 2, 2-1. If they don't score in that inning, though, things will get accelerated with the international tiebreaker where you put that runner on second base to start the frame. Swung on, fly ball right side. Under it is Jones in foul territory. Makes the play right on the line. For out number 1 of the inning, Ryan Van retired. For out number 1, that'll bring up Jimmy Twombly. So Twombly coming to the plate. Twombly trying to get things started for the Defenders. Mount Marty now up on Dakota Wesleyan 8-7. That one's in the bottom of the 6th inning. That one's far from decided. Briarcliff has blown open their game with Midland. It's 14-2 in baseball in the top of the 7th there. And Northwestern's up on Waldorf 7-1. Pitch is, we got a ball and a strike. 1-1 the count with 1 out. Here's the pitch. Swung on, and that one's lined in left field, and Twombly is on with a 1-out single. Takes the turn at first. And Twombly reaches on the play, and that will bring Logan Templeton to the plate. Logan Templeton in his last at-bat, a solo homer. Now batting with a runner on first base and one out here in the bottom of the third inning. Pitch misses outside. Ball one, 1-0 the count with one down in the inning. So 1-0 the count with one out. Swung on and fouled off. Strike one, 1-1. The Defender baseball team hoping for a spot in the postseason tournament. Double elimination bracket play begins on Wednesday. Pitch is fouled off. Strike two, 1-2 the count. This Defender team been affected by a little more limited pitching staff than they had anticipated, hoped for. Swung on and a chopper over the mound. Second baseman up with it, throws over to first in time. And Templeton is retired 4-3 on the play. Twombly advances for the second out of the inning, and that'll bring up Drew Oreskes. Oreskes had a 3-run homer in the first game. And so far in this one, Oreskes, his second plate appearance. He's 0 for 1. So 2 down in the inning. From the stretch, here's the pitch. Inside corner, strike one. 0-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. Here's the pitch. That's low and inside. So Concordia and Hastings are playing tomorrow. That one has some bearing in baseball for the Dordt Defenders. And Concordia still playing for a share of the conference title. Here's the pitch. Up high and tight. Ball two, 2-1 the count. Assuming Doane hangs on to win this one, they'll be 22-4 heading into play tomorrow. There'll be a game up on Morningside and Concordia if this one holds up. We're in the top, we're in the bottom of the third inning. Pitch is up high. Ball three. 3-1 the count with 2 down. Briar Cliff headed into the weekend in 4th place, 2 games up on Northwestern. Here's the pitch. Ball 4 and the walk is issued. So Oreskes works for the base on balls. And that'll bring up Stephen Dillander. Drew Oreskes with he entered play today with 35 bases on balls. And he's over on first base now with 2 down. And Stephen Dillander is the batter. And this will be the final baseball game for Dordt this season at Open Space Park. Softball team remains to be seen if they can get one of the double elimination tournament pods, and then first pitch is a ball. And if you can win that and be the highest remaining seed, you'd host a best of 3 series 1 week from tomorrow. 0-1 the count with 2 down. Here's the pitch. Swung on, fouled off. Strike one. 0-2 the count. 0-2 the count with 2 down. So runners on first and second for the defenders. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike three. Ball gets away from the catcher. Up with it. Throws over to first base. And the throwing error allows a run to score. So the defenders played a run as Dillander strikes out swinging, but reaches on the error. Oreskes comes around and advances to third. And Twombly scored on the play. So Dillander reaches on a drop third strike, and ball got away from the catcher, and then he threw over to first base and would have had Dillander, but threw it low to Jones at first base. So now Jared Hers batting with a runner on first and runner on third, and Hers lines this one into right center field, and making the diving grab is Kwapnowski. Kwapnowski spears it, laying out for that, and robs Hers of extra bases. And the inning comes to a close with Dordt getting a run on one hit and an error, and they strand two. We go to the top of the fourth inning. Our score, Doane 18, Dordt 2. Back with more in a moment.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by RA Rentals. Looking for top-notch rental equipment for the next project? Look no further than RA Rentals, located in Sioux Center, Spencer, Storm Lake, and Sioux Falls. RA Rentals, your regional equipment rental experts. Discover more than just inventory, service, and financing for Ford models. Mao Motor Company is committed to exceptional customer service. Mao Motor on Highway 75 North in Sioux Center. Online, maomotor.com. Today's broadcast brought to you by Hague Health Center, proudly serving your local community for nearly 60 years with a commitment to healing body, mind, and spirit. Today's broadcast brought to you by Eric Rankin, a proud sponsor of Dordt University Defender Athletics. For all your investment needs, call 712-722-0618 or visit edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, SPIC. Members Cut, more than meat, where strong values, great food, and hometown spirit comes together. Stop in and taste the difference community makes. Located just south of Scooters on Highway 75.
This is a Dordt Media Network student-produced live stream broadcast.
Well, we have a pitching change as we get started with the top of the fourth inning. This is Parker Wilson pitching. Kwapnowski swings and misses. And the count is now even at 1-1. 1-1 the count with nobody out. 18-2 our score. And here's the pitch. And Wilson working from behind the count, 2-1. Parker Wilson, 9th pitching appearance, doesn't have a decision. 7 innings of work for Wilson. That one misses inside. Ball 3. 3-1 the count. Wilson, a senior from Westminster, Colorado. Three and one to count. And the pitch is a ball. And the walk is issued, and that'll bring Tanner. Well, we're going to have a pinch hitter, it appears. We will have a pinch hitter. And batting for Tanner Nelson will be Caden Dreesen. And we have a pinch runner as well. And can't make out who that pinch runner is. This is why you need numbers on the front of jerseys. Here's the pitch, down low, ball one. So the batter is Dreesen. And the count is now 2-0. And we have a mound visit coming. So we have a mound visit. 2-0 the count with nobody out. And it looks like the pinch runner for Kwapnowski is number 29. That'll be Adam Volcano. And the mound visit breaks up. So Caden Dreesen batting for the catcher, Tanner Nelson. So 2-0 the count. From the stretch, here's the pitch. Low and away, ball three. 3-0 the count. Dreesen getting his first action of the day. Pinch hitter. 3-0 the count. Here's the pitch from Wilson in for a called strike. 3-1 the count. 18 runs, 15 hits, 1 error for Doane through 3+. Here's the pitch. In there for a called strike. It's 3-2. 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error for the defenders through 3. So the count is now full, 3-2. Here's the pitch, and Dreesen takes the ball. So back-to-back walks issued by Parker Wilson to start the inning. And that will bring Jet Grossert to the plate. And we have a pinch runner for Dreesen. This will be 0, Bryson Morrison. So Jet Grossert will come to the plate. And this one fouled off and out of play. Strike one, 0-1 the count. So 0-1 the count with nobody out. So 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch up high. Ball one, 1-1. With nobody out in the inning. From the top of the fourth, we've got to play 7. Scheduled to go 9. Here's the pitch. Outside and unable to flag it down was Demers, and everybody advances on the wild pitch. And Jet Grossert worked the count now to 2-1. Here's the pitch from Wilson. Outside, ball 3, 3-1. So Grossert batting here with runners on second and third and nobody out. And the 3-1 pitch on the way. That's in for a called strike. 3-2 the count. The Defenders lost game 1, 8-5. And Concordia, Doane, I was just looking at the scoreboard. Doane played a 10 in the top of the first inning. Now the walk issued. Jet Grossert walks the bases full. And we're going to have a pitching change, and that'll be it for Parker Wilson. So we've got a pitching change here. We are in the top of the fourth inning. Doane with a 18-2 lead. Back with more from Open Space Park right after this.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by RA Rentals. Looking for top-notch rental equipment for the next project? Look no further than RA Rentals, located in Sioux Center, Spencer, Storm Lake, and Sioux Falls. RA Rentals, your regional equipment rental experts. Discover more than just inventory, service, and financing for Ford models. Mao Motor Company is committed to exceptional customer service. Mao Motor on Highway 75 North in Sioux Center. Online, maomotor.com. Today's broadcast brought to you by Hague Health Center, proudly serving your local community for nearly 60 years with a commitment to healing body, mind, and spirit. Today's broadcast is brought to you by RA Rentals. Looking for top-notch rental equipment for the next project? Look no further than RA Rentals, located in Sioux Center, Spencer, Storm Lake, and Sioux Falls. RA Rentals, your regional equipment rental experts.
Have a pitching change. Morgan Wilkins is on to pitch for the Defenders here. Inherits a bases-loaded situation. Softball play. Morningside has beaten Midland in Game 1 of their doubleheader in Sioux City, 6-5. That drops Midland into a tie in the loss column with Dordt and Dakota Wesleyan for second place. And Morningside right now at top of the conference all by themselves. Swing and a miss by Volcano. Strike 2. Nothing into the count. Other baseball, Northwestern leads Waldorf 9-1 in the top of the fifth inning. Pitch misses outside. There's another softball doubleheader underway. Mount Marty leads Hastings 1-0. So 1-2 the count. Wilkins trying to get out of the mess. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on, ground ball, right side. Up with it is Dillander. Over to second for 1. Run comes in to score on the fielder's choice. So Grossert that is, retired 4-6. Everybody else advances. And it looks like we'll have a pinch hitter now for Braden Jones. This will be Adam Wilmore. Wilmore, right-handed batter, will step in. And he will face Morgan Wilkins. Morgan this year, the senior from Lee Summit, Missouri. This is his 15th appearance. He is 2-2. 25 strikeouts so far this year. Coaxed a fielder's choice. Run came in to score for Doane. It's 19-2 Tigers. Wilmore. Here's the pitch from Wilkins. Wilmore takes a strike. 0-1 the count. Mount Marty leads Dakota Wesleyan in baseball 9-7 in Yankton. And Briarcliff defeats Midland 14-4. Game 1 of their doubleheader. Wilmore fouls it off. Strike 2, 0-2 the count. So 0-2 the count with 1 down in the inning. Wilkins from the stretch steps off the rubber. And with the count 0-2 and 1 out, Wilmore awaiting the delivery from Wilkins. Swung on, hit in the air, right side, drifting over as Templeton in foul territory. Shades his eyes, makes the play. And Wilmore is retired on the pop out in foul territory. And there's 2 outs in the inning. So 19-2 our score. 2 down in the inning. Wilkins checks the runner at first. Now at third. Morrison over at third base. First pitch misses outside. Ball 1. 1-0 the count with 2 down in the inning. Really, that Mount Marty Dakota Wesleyan doubleheader, you're seeing who wins the first one, and as you scoreboard watch, pitch is swung on and missed. Strike 1, 1-1 the count. Briarcliff beat Midland. Now Midland, to have any chance realistically, they've got to win their next 3. After dropping game 1, 14-4. Swing and a miss, strike 2. 1-2 the count. Midland could, in effect, be all but eliminated if they get swept today. Guess there would still be some hope for them, depending on the outcome of Mount Marty and Dakota Wesleyan. Fly ball center field, that'll drop in for a base hit. So Jordan Bond with a single. That scores a run. Volcano advances to third base on the play and brings Max Harris to the plate. So Max Harris plates another, or pardon me, Bond plates another with the single. It's the 16th hit of the day for Doane. Morgan Wilkins from the stretch. And here's the pitch. Outside and low, ball one. 1-0 the count. 1-0 the count with 2 down in the inning. And here's the pitch. That's in for a called strike. 1-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. So 1-1 the count with 2 down. Wilkins from the stretch. Here's the pitch. In there for a called strike. It's 1-2. We're in the top of the 4th inning. 20-2 our score. Doane in front of the defenders. They scored 10 in the first, 8 in the 3rd, and 2 here in the 4th. Here's the pitch from Wilkins. Checked his swing, and he went around. Strike 3, and the side is retired. 2 runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 left on base for the Tigers. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Back with more after this. Ground ball right side, fighting it off is Christensen, and then that's going to tie the game. Joey Schlesselman to lead off the inning against Brock Songster. Takes a ball. It's 1-0. Pitch is down to the dirt. Ball 2. 2-0 the count. So 2-0 the count. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. And here's the pitch. Swung on in. This one's fouled off and out of play. Strike 1, 2-1 the count for the defenders in this one. 2 runs on 3 hits. Schlesselman 0 for 1. So 2-1 the count. And here's the pitch from Songster. Ground ball, and that's going to be have Schlesselman reaching on the error, charge to the first baseman. So Schlesselman reaches on the error. And that'll bring up DJ Kerr. So Kerr comes to the plate here. So the defender baseball team definitely be scoreboard watching tomorrow, and we'll have somewhat of a clearer picture later tonight as the doubleheaders play out today. Here's the pitch, checking his swing, going around is DJ Kerr. Strike one, 1-1 the count. This game started at 3:50. So we're closing in on 2 hours. Here's the pitch. Inside and low, ball 2. 2-1. 2-1 the count. The defenders have gotten themselves in some trouble. 8 walks issued. Pitch is up high. Ball 3, 3-1. 124 pitches thrown for the defenders thus far in this one. So 3-1 the count with nobody out. Here's the pitch. Outside and high. Ball 4 and the walk is issued. So Kerr is on first base. And that'll bring Chisholm Demers to the plate with the defenders trailing 20-2. 22 our score. So 20-2 our score. From the stretch is Songster. Here's the pitch. Up high, ball 1. 1-0 the count. Songster so far today. 2 runs surrendered on 3 hits. Walked 3 and struck out 2. He's thrown 57 pitches. Swung on. That one's off of the hands and out of play. Strike 1, 1-1 the count. Doane is 21-4 after the win in Game 1 in league play. Morningside and Concordia are idle today. They're both 21-5. They've got 2 games left. Same format for baseball and softball in terms of the 2 4-team double elimination brackets converging with 1 championship game. Softball plays a series. Baseball plays 1 game for the championship. Regular season champion will be the number 1 seed. Softball, there are 2 berths awarded to the College Softball National Championship Series. 2-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and missed by Demers. Strike 3. And that'll bring up Ryan Van with 1 out. So Briarcliff and Northwestern, 4th and 5th in conference play. Briarcliff with the more challenging weekend playing Midland. Midland 7-17. Northwestern hosting Waldorf, who is 4-20 in league play. 0-1 the count with 1 out. To Van. Here's the pitch. Outside. Ball 1, 1-1 the count. So there's 1 out in the inning. One and one the count with 1 out. Here's the pitch from Songster. Ground ball. Shortstop up with it. Throws over to second for 1. Gets that runner. So fielder's choice off of the bat of Ryan Van. Van reaches. Kerr is retired 6-4. And Schlesselman advances over to third base. Runners at the corners with 2 outs and Jimmy Twombly at the plate. Well, for Dordt, you just want to try and make this a little more respectable. Chip away, potentially. Get 2 or 3 runs and see what that can lead to. So 2 down in the inning. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled off. Strike 1, 0-1 the count with 2 down. 0-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. Nothing in one the count with 2 down in the inning. Here's the pitch. Swung on, hit in the air, center field. Harris giving chase. Harris won't get to it. Ball drops in. That'll be a single for Ryan Van. Beg your pardon, for Twombly. Van advances to third on the play. Schlesselman scores. And that'll bring up Logan Templeton. So the defender's down 20-3. Twombly with a single. And for Twombly, his second hit of the game. Knocks in a run in the process. Here's the pitch. Oh, fouled off and out of play. Strike one, nothing in one the count with 2 down. So nothing in one the count with 2 down in the inning. And here's the pitch outside. Ball one, 1-1. 1-1 the count. That one swung on and fouled off and out of play. And the count is now 1-2. 1-2 the count to Templeton. Logan awaiting the delivery. And here's the pitch inside. Gets away from the catcher. And scoring on the wild pitch is Van. So Van will score on the wild pitch. Twombly advances to second on the same play. So Templeton now batting with a runner on second base. So the defender's getting 2 back here in the bottom of the 4th. Swung on, hit in the air, center field. Max Harris is on it, makes the play on the flyout. And the defenders are retired. 2 runs, a hit, an error, and a runner left on base. We go to the 5th inning. Due up for the Tigers will be Roth. That's Carter Roth, Grant Summers, and Sam Kopnowski when we're back right after this.
NewTek is your partner for success when purchasing equipment for construction, manufacturing, agriculture, and other industries. Don't miss the opportunity to transform your business and redefine your productivity standards with NewTek. Today's broadcast brought to you by Snyder Insurance and Financial Group of Sioux Center, offering life, health, Medicare supplements, annuities, and more. Trusted service and exceptional products with you in mind since 1973.
Hey Defender Nation, did you know that Dordt Athletics has over 700 student athletes that make up less than 50% of the student body? We want to invite you to join the Defender Gold Club and support those student athletes, our staff, and coaches this season. Your charitable donation helps advance Defender Athletics and the Defender Way. Last year, we were just shy of 900 members in the Defender Gold Club. Help us reach that 1,000 member mark this year. By becoming a member, you will directly support the student athletes and coaches here at Dordt University. Thanks for watching. Go Defenders.
So we have a pinch hitter. This will be Kai Berkey. Berkey batting. Berkey takes a pitch, strike. Nothing in on the count from Morgan Wilkins. Top of the 5th inning, 20-4 our score. So Berkey batting. Here's the pitch. That's in for a called strike. Nothing in 2. So 0-2 the count. Well, this doubleheader approaching 5 hours old. Mount Marty leads Dakota Wesleyan in baseball play, 10-9 in the 7th. There's a swing and a miss, strike 3. Out number 1 of the inning. And should be Grant Summers coming to the plate, and it is. Other baseball earlier today, Briarcliff defeats Midland 14-4. Softball, Morningside defeated Midland 6-5 in 9 innings. And Northwestern is up on Waldorf in the 6th inning, 9-4. 1 out in the inning. Here's the pitch, outside corner, strike 1, 0-1 the count. So we're in the top of the 5th inning. This one's scheduled to go 9 frames, but would be shortened to 7 if the difference is 10 runs or more after 7 innings are played. Swung on, and this one's fouled off. Counts 0-2. There'll be plenty of baseball and softball being played out tonight. Hastings and Mount Marty softball right now. They're in the 3rd inning. Hastings leads at 3-1. So 0-2 the count with 1 out. Wilkins pitch misses outside. Ball 1. 1-2. Softball tomorrow, the complete schedule includes Waldorf at Northwestern. I believe they're going to play that one here in the ASB Sports Complex. College of St. Mary will play Concordia. Dakota Wesleyan is at Morningside. Mount Marty is at Hastings. And Midland is at Doane. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And Kwapnoski will come to the plate with 2 down. And Mount Marty and Hastings softball, they're obviously not playing tomorrow. They're playing today, so that one must have got double booked. So scratch that one off the Saturday scoreboard. And Midland is at Doane. And Dordt and Briarcliff will play tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Sweep by the Dordt defenders tomorrow, and they put themselves in a pretty nice spot. Looks like we have a batter for Kwapnoski. And this will be Adam Volcano. 1-0 the count with 2 down here in the top of the 5th inning. Pitch is outside. Ball 2. 2-0 with 2 down. So 2-0 the count with 2 down in the inning. 20-4 our score. The defenders trailing by 16. This one got out of hand early with Doane scoring 10. Swung on, chopped foul, strike 1. 2-1 the count. So 2-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. The Doane Tigers tomorrow, they'll head to Sioux City. That one in all likelihood will be for the conference championship. Pitch misses outside. Ball 3. 3-1 the count. Well, if I start to do some thinking, Doane will be 22-4 if they hang on to this one. Concordia plays tomorrow. What if they get a sweep? They go to 23-5. This one's hit in the air right side, drifting, and a home run by Volcano, curling inside the right field corner. So a solo homer by Volcano down the right field line. And that'll bring Caden Dreesen to the plate. Should be Dreesen at least. These are the games that test you if you're the scorekeeper. This is also why I'm an advocate for numbers on the front of jerseys. I know Dordt, violator as well. One of their jersey sets doesn't have a number on the front. This is indeed Caden Dreesen. Not as big a deal when they're batting, but first pitch misses. Ball 1. 1-0 the count. Defensively, though, it's nice to see that number. 1-0 the count with 2 down. Here's the pitch. That misses inside, ball 2. 2-0. 2-0 the count. With 2 down in the inning, Wilkins awaits. And here's the pitch from Wilkins. Swung on, fouls it off. Strike 1 for Caden Dreesen. Count is 2-1. So if Concordia would win both tomorrow, they'd be 23-5. I don't think the math works out for a 3-way tie for the conference championship. Although, yeah, we'll think about a little bit more about that. Swing and a miss. And foul tip that Demers is unable to hang on to. So Doane's 22-4 heading into play tomorrow. Morningside would be 21-5. Concordia 21-5. If Concordia could sweep Hastings, they'd go to 23-5. Morningside could tie Concordia with a sweep. Doane just needs 1 win tomorrow in all likelihood to seal a conference title. Well, I take that back. They need a little bit more than that. They could still end up 23-5. Pardon me. They could be 22-4. They could go to 24-4 to finish it. They could finish 23-5 as well. So, all that being said, a fly ball to left field. Caden Dreesen retired for the 3rd out of the inning. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Doane leading at 21-4. Back with more after this. Twenty-one to 4 our score. Drew Oreskes comes to the plate. 1-0 the count as Oreskes takes the ball. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here's the pitch. That's in for a called strike, 1-1. One and one the count. Here's the pitch. Looks like we have a pitching change as well. Double check that after this at bat. Pitch is up high, ball 2. 2-1. The new pitcher, number 33, Carter Navin, pitches inside, ball 3. 3-2 the count with nobody out. And here's Navin's pitch. Swung on, hit in the air, right center field, and Arascas with a solo homer. And Arascas puts a charge into that one to start the inning. And that'll bring up Dillander with the defenders trailing 21-5. And Dillander facing Navin. First pitch, strike. 0-1 the count. So 21-5 our score. Here's the pitch for Arascas, his second homer of the day. Had a 3-run homer in game 1. Here's the pitch. Up high. Ball 2, 2-1. So we're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here's the pitch. Checked his swing. Ooh, went around. Strike 2. 2-2 the count. So 2-2 the count. And here's the pitch. Gets away from the catcher, Dreesen. So the count is now full, 3-2 with nobody out. Here's the pitch. Swung on, hit in the air, right field. Adam Valcano making the running grab. And that'll bring Jared Hers to the plate. So Jared Hers, with 1 out in the inning, comes to the plate with the bases empty, takes a ball. 1-0 the count. Well, I certainly hope for everyone's sake they can get their games in tomorrow. Pitch is in for a called strike, 1-1 the count. You don't get them in tomorrow, it does not look promising for the next 2 days. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. 1-2 the count. If you don't get them in softball, it doesn't seem to put quite the stress on your pitching staff, but it does bleed the season another day. Here's the pitch. And that's in for a called strike 3. So Hers goes down looking. That'll bring Joey Schleserman to the plate. 2 outs in the inning. And it also delays your travel plans with seeds still up in the air and all that kind of stuff. I've been involved in those where you're playing out the game, the softball game, one night and waiting to find out where you need to go the next day. Pitch is swung on and missed, fouled off, strike 1, 0-1 the count. We've seen a few different iterations of postseason tournament play. Kind of settled on these double elimination 14 brackets. 0-1 the count. Pitch is in for a called strike. 0-2. Baseball is pretty much played. They have tried single sites for the 8-team bracket. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And the defenders are retired in order. Beg your pardon, Dordt got 1 run on 1 hit, and then the next 3 batters retired. They got a home run by Drew Arascas to bring it back to 21-5. We head to the top of the 6th inning. Due up for the Tigers, Gossert, Johnny Volcano, Adam Wilmore, when we're back right after this.
Hey Defender Nation, my name is Darren Kaiser and I'm excited to serve as the new athletic director at Dordt University. Thank you for tuning in to the Dordt Media Network and supporting Defender Athletics. As an athletic department, we are committed to the Defender way. This means we are committed to the Great Commission, developing servant leaders, the academic development of our student athletes, and the pursuit of championships. I'm eager to join with you in supporting our athletes this year. Thank you for watching Defender Athletics on the Dordt Media Network. Go Defenders!
Welcome to Sioux Center, Iowa, life in the center of everything, where we see our work impact lives near and far and embrace opportunities to pursue our passions. And a day at the office isn't just 8 to 5, because we work for innovative companies and know we're never far from the next unforgettable memory. Because we keep friendship, family, and a bright future at the center of everything.
Well, we have a pinch hitter for Grossert. And this will be number 25, Jordan West. Nothing into the count to West. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. And West retired on the play. That'll bring up, should be Johnny Volcano. And this will be Weewell. So Thadden Weewell into the lineup now. Pitch is up high. Ball 1. 1-0 the count with 1 out in the inning. And that pitch catches the outside corner. Strike 1. 1-1 the count. That pitch misses outside. Ball 2. 2-1 with 1 out. We're in the top of the 6th inning. 21-5 our score. So Weewell batting. Boy, if I've got all the lineup changes correct in this one, it would be quite something. Pitch is in for a called strike. 2-2 the count. Well, the other night when Hastings came to town, they used, I believe, 23 players in the second game. Going to be a pretty similar number here for Doane in this one. By my count, they've got 18 already utilized. Pitch is a ball. It's 3-2. Weewell. Pitch is in for a called strike 3. And he goes down looking. That'll bring up Adam Wilmore. Wilmore, the first baseman. And somehow it seems I've got the right spot in the order at least up. 21-5 our score, top of the 6th inning. 2 down in the frame. And pitch misses. Inside, ball one. 1-0 the count. I believe Wilmore fouled out in his last at bat. Ball one, 1-0 the count with 2 down. Swung on, hit in the air, towering fly ball left field. That one's got a chance, backing up and making the play is hers on the warning track. And Wilmore is retired on the fly out to right to end the, on fly out to left to end the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Back with more in a moment.
You have field work. You're going to get to work with real students in real classrooms. And we've designed this all, you can do it all at a distance from campus. You don't have to come to campus for any of it.
When we think about students with disabilities, these students are important. They're valuable and they're worth the time it's going to take us to address their needs.
Hi, this is Alex with Outdoor Elements. We've been the region's premier landscape company for over 15 years. With our own in-house landscape designer, we create extraordinary outdoor spaces where you will make memories with family and friends. We do all types of landscaping and we're the region's only certified pool professionals. We specialize in saltwater pools, which are easy to maintain and gentle on your skin. Check out our website at outdoorelementsinc.com. We make your landscape as beautiful as your home. When you want the best, contact us at 712-476-5299 or email us at info@outdoorelementsinc.com.
DJ Kerr comes to the plate. And Kerr takes pitch on the inside corner of the plate. Strike 3. So Kerr goes down looking. Brings up Chisholm Demers. And Demers, right-handed batter, will step in. And pitch swung on and missed. Strike 1, 0-1 the count with 1 out in the inning. 0-1 the count, 1 out in the inning. We're in the bottom of the 6th. 21-5. Doane with this one in hand. They've had it there since the first inning, really. Established things with a 10-run first. 1-1 the count with 1 out. Swung on this one, drilled into the left field corner, and that one's going to drift out of play with Demers. Strike 2. 1-2 the count with 1 out in the inning. So 1-2 the count with 1 out in the frame. Here's the pitch. Outside, ball 2, 2-2 the count. 2-2 the count. And here's the pitch again, down in the dirt, ball 3, 3-2. With one out in the frame, Dordt trailing 21-5. Certainly appears Dordt will be 10-18 at the conclusion of the conference season. Ground ball, shortstop, up with it. Summers over to Wilmore in time, and Demers retired 6-3. For the second out of the inning, that'll bring up Ryan Van. And Ryan Van will step in, facing Naven. Pitches in for a called strike. Nothing and one the count with 2 down in the inning. Here's the pitch. Swung on, ground ball. Speared by the third baseman Bond over to first. Scooped by Wilmore. And Van is retired 5-3 to end the 6th. We go to the top of the 7th inning. Doane with a 21-5 advantage. Back with the top of the 7th inning right after this.
In the Dome, we have a space available for 2 full-size softball fields. However, this space is also utilized by the football, baseball, and soccer teams, as well as for other various athletic events. Another great thing about the American State Bank Sports Complex is that it's not just for Dordt athletes, it's for the entire community. Whether that's high school soccer leagues, open turf time, or even a space for intramurals. Hope you stop by soon. Well, we'll have a pinch hitter for Jordan Bond. This will be Joshua Sotelo. $21-5 our score. Sotelo batting in the number 8 slot. Pitches up high. Ball 1, 1-0 the count. So 1-0 the count with nobody out. Kevin Quesada is the pitcher, and Quesada's second pitch, a ball. 2-0 the count with nobody out. Well, the defenders will have to wait and see about next week. We'll have an idea of what needs to happen after the doubleheaders are complete today. Swing and a miss. Strike 1, 2-1 the count. Right now, we've got some finals in for game 1 of doubleheaders. And here's the pitch from Quesada. That's in for a called strike. 2-2 the count. Baseball games completed earlier today. Briarcliff will winner over Midland 14-4.
Mount Marty a winner over Dakota Wesleyan 10-9. Doane beat Dordt in the game 1, 8-5. Some of the second games underway. Northwestern and Waldorf, they're in the top of the 7th inning of game 1. Northwestern leads 11-7, so Waldorf coming alive, scoring some runs, but Northwestern up by 4 in the final frame. Here's the pitch from Quesada. Fly ball, deep center field. Under it is Twombly. Twombly in the shade, makes the play for the first out of the inning. So Satella is retired. And this will be Bryson Morrison batting. Morrison, left-handed batter. We've seen him courtesy run. We've seen him pitch hit. We saw him, I believe, as a defensive change this afternoon. Quesada's first pitch is in for a called strike. 0-1 the count. Also today, Dakota Wesleyan and Mount Marty game 2, they're underway and scoreless in the second. Briar Cliff leads Midland 3-0 in their game. That pitch is in for a called strike, 0-2 the count. And in softball, Mount Marty and Hastings tied 2-2 in the 5th. Midland and Morningside scoreless in the 3rd. Pitch is outside, ball 1. So 1-2 the count with 1 out. The defenders trailing. This one lifted in the air left side. Looks like Hers has it, and he does. Bryson Morrison retired on the flyout to left field for out number 2. And that will bring up number 36. It's Gage Reba. So Reba will bat in the spot that Roth held. This is actually the leadoff spot in the order. Pitch is down in the dirt, ball 1. 1-0 the count with 2 down in the inning. So Reba, number 36, batting. Pitch is up high, ball 2. 2-0 the count with 2 down. 21 runs, 17 hits, 2 errors for Doane. Dordt 5-5-1. 5 left on base for the defenders, 4 for Doane. Doane has made the most of every opportunity. Pitch is on the outside corner. Strike 1, 2-1 the count. So 2-1 the count with 2 down. Quesada trying to work an uneventful 7th inning. Pitch misses inside. Ball 3, 3-1 the count with 2 down. Well, the suspense taken out of this one with 10 in the first and 8 in the third for the Tigers. I'm sure their attention now turning towards Morningside tomorrow. 3-1 pitch on the way. Swung on. Foul ball. Strike 2. 3-2. Quesada, the 6th pitcher utilized by the defenders today. The defenders nearing 200 pitches as a staff. That pitch inside. Ball 4 and the walk is issued. And that will bring to the plate Grant Summers. Summers today, here in this game, 1 for 4 with a base on balls. We'll start looking at the player of the game possibilities for the defenders. Drew Oreskes obviously making a case with a 3-run homer and a base on balls. Beg your pardon, his was a solo homer. Jimmy Twombly, 2 hits. He was 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. 1-0 the count. Here's the pitch to Summers. It's down low, ball 2. 2-0 with 2 down. 2-0 the count with 2 down in the inning. And awaiting is Summers from Quesada. Pitch is down in the dirt, and that'll go as a wild pitch. And picking up second base will be Reba on the ball. So Reba advances on the wild pitch in the dirt. We're in the top of the 7th inning, and unless the defenders, well, they've got to get out of this first, but then would need to score 7 runs to extend the game. Here's the pitch. Quesada's pitch is in there for a called strike. Three and one the count with 2 down. So 3-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. 21-5 our score. Here's the pitch, and that one's high and tight. Ball 4, and the walk is issued. So runners on first and second for the Tigers. And batting will be Adam Volcano. Volcano batting with 2 down in the frame. And here's the pitch. Swung on, hit in the air, left side. Demers sheds the helmet, and that one's going to drift out of play just over the netting. Strike nut 1, 0-1 the count with 2 down. So 0-1 the count with 2 down in the inning. The defenders trailing in this one, 21-5. So 0-1 the count with 2 down. Here's the pitch from Quesada. Misses upstairs. Ball 1, 1-1 the count with 2 down. And this one lifted high in the air, shallow center field, chasing. Schlesselman calls for it, and finally calling everyone off is Jimmy Twombly. Twombly on the run, makes the play. And Volcano is retired on the fly out to center for the 3rd out of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, 2 stranded. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Dordt trailing 21-5 when we're back right after this.
Thank you for being here as we celebrate the launch of Dordt University's Master of Science in Nursing Family Nurse Practitioner Program.
At Dordt University, our NPs will be prepared as Christian nurses, where their practice reflects their faith, acknowledging the value of anyone in their care as a child of God, worthy of dignity and compassion.
I hope you leave understanding that this is more than just a new graduate degree. It's a commitment to healthcare, to urban and rural communities, to preparing nurses who serve with skill, integrity, purpose as the hands and feet of Christ.
This is a Dordt Media Network student-produced live stream broadcast.
0-1 the count with nobody out as Jimmy Twombly leads off the bottom of the 7th. Dordt trailing 5. Well, Doane in game 1, I thought, really looked like a championship-type team in the conference. Game 2, they just got up so much so early. Now an error on the play as Twombly grounds to the shortstop. Was unable to field it cleanly. And that will bring up Logan Templeton. An error on the play. The third by the Tigers, and they have shuffled the deck here. So Dordt trailing 21-5. Templeton comes to the plate. Pitches in for a called strike. 0-1 the count with nobody out. 16-run difference right now. 21 runs on 17 hits for the Tigers, and they've been helped by 10 bases on balls as well. So 1-1 the count to Templeton. Templeton 1 for 3 here in game 2. And now 1-2 the count. During our post game, we'll quickly recap the other scores that are either in progress or final. Pitch is a ball, 2-2 the count. Trying to make out who's in center field for the Tigers. They have shuffled their lineup considerably and some double switches as well. Pitch is inside, ball 3, 3-2. I do know that Morrison is in left field now. Swung on, hit in the air, right side, giving chase is Wilmore. Wilmore over near the first base dugout, and Wilmore reaches up, makes the grab in foul territory for the first out of the inning. So Templeton retired, and that'll bring up Drew Oreskes. So 1 out in the inning. Brings Drew Oreskes to the plate. Oreskes with a solo homer earlier today. Oreskes takes a ball. 0-1 the count. 0-1 the count with, 1-0 the count with 1 out as he takes a ball. Here's the pitch. Inside and high, ball 2, 2-0. Twombly's on first base. Oreskes batting. Here's the pitch. Outside, ball 3, 3-0. So 3-0 the count with 1 out in the inning. And the pitch goes up high. Ball 4, and the walk is issued. So Oreskes is walked. And that will bring Stephen Dillander to the plate. So Dillander comes to the plate here with runners on first and second. And 1 out, and Dillander puts a charge into this one. And reaching up to make the grab, center fielder. So making the play. The out recorded. And Dillender retired for the second out of the inning. And that'll bring Jarrett Hers to the plate. With 2 down in the frame. So 2 down in the inning. Here's the pitch. Up high. Ball 1. So 1-0 the count. And that pitch misses. Ball 2. Bottom of the 7th inning, 2 down in the inning. The defenders very likely down to their final out. Pitch is in for a called strike. 2-1 the count. So 2-1 the count. Here's the pitch. And he went around. Strike 2. So 2-2 the count now with 2 down in the inning. So 2-2 the count with 2 down in the frame. And the defenders, very likely, as I said, down to their final out of the game and of the regular season. Swung on, hit in the air, left side. Drifting back, the shortstop Summers makes the play in shallow left field. And the side is retired, and with it comes the end of the contest. The defenders, no runs, no hits, 1 error, and 2 left on base. The defenders fall in game 2 by a final score of 21-5. Stay tuned. Up next, the Wireless World postgame show, and we'll recap things with our player of the game as well right after this.
This is a Dordt Media Network student-produced live stream broadcast.
Find a project that applies to your local context, that helps you as a teacher in your classroom, and do a deep dive on it. Like, we're always trying to be like, what does this have to do with the place in which you serve?
We strive to build community from before you step foot on campus to years after you graduate. We want to give Dordt students the chance to live and learn together and create meaningful, lifelong relationships that are rooted in faith.
Well, it's time to wrap things up as the defenders fall in game 2 by a final score of 21-5. A lot of the suspense taken out of this one early on, with Doane plating 10 in the first and 8 in the third, as you see some of the Hague Health Center highlights. At that point, Dordt was down 18-2 and 21-5 the final. For Doane, 21 runs, 17 hits, 3 errors. For the defenders, 5-5-1. Dordt stranded 7, and Doane left 6 on base. For the defenders offensively, Jimmy Twombly with 2 for 4 with an RBI. Logan Templeton, Drew Oreskes, and Jarrett Hers each with base hits as well. Oreskes clubbing a solo homer. And he also walked twice, did Oreskes. The pitching win, and the pitching win goes to Songster for Doane as he goes 4 innings, gives up 4 runs on 4 hits, walked 3 and struck out 3. For the defenders, Ryland Bowe takes the loss. He was the starter today. Morgan Wilkins, pretty effective, though. 3 innings pitched as he gave up 1 run on 2 hits and struck out 5. So he was the most effective pitcher for the defenders through 42 pitches. Taking a look at some of the other scores from around the league before we get to our Wireless World our State Farm Ross Hoekstra Player of the Game. Other scores earlier today, Game 1 of the doubleheader, Doane defeated Dordt by a final of 8-5. Mount Marty a winner over Dakota Wesleyan 10-9. Briarcliff down Midland 14-4. Softball, Morningside defeated Midland in Game 1 6-5 in 9 innings. And now the games that are underway. Northwestern has just gone final with Waldorf 11-7 Northwestern in Orange City. That was Game 1. Bottom of the 4th inning in Sioux City. Softball, Midland leads Morningside 1-0. Hastings and Mount Marty softball tied 2-2. Bottom of the 7th. Dakota Wesleyan leads Mount Marty 1-0. Bottom of the 3rd in baseball. Also in baseball, Briarcliff 4, Midland 0. And Waldorf and Northwestern will be getting started shortly. And it is time now for our State Farm Player of the Game, brought to you by Ross Hoekstra with State Farm, serving Sioux County and the tri-state area. Call Ross, 712-722-0806 for all your insurance needs. And our Player of the Game today, Drew Oreskes, as Drew, his 2nd home run of the day, his 8th of the season, and he now has 38 RBI. And the defender still entertaining hopes of a postseason berth in the Great Plains Athletic Conference postseason tournament. Drew Oreskes is your Player of the Game today. That's going to do it for our broadcast. We'll see what we have next week in terms of potentially home softball on Wednesday. That'll all play out. We'll know more. We'll hopefully know everything in terms of pairings and matchups and times tomorrow evening when the softball season, regular season, concludes. That's going to do it for our broadcast. A thank you today to our Dordt Media Network crew, Espen Klungseth, Lila Findley, Marcus Seifert, Parker Freeman, Noah Zylstra, Elijah Nienhuis, Lynn Marie Termolen, and Philip Getz was on the drone this afternoon.